All right. Hey, so this is another episode of Good, Bad, and Ugly Real Estate, but it's a little bit different because we're not going to be talking about just real estate, and we're not going to be talking about just like creating a lifestyle for people that helps them grow passive income and group together as like a unit to support each other to grow passive income. But we're actually going to be talking about something that we've kind of like been a goal of mine since the beginning of creating this. And it worked out because somebody that invests with us and somebody who's a good friend of mine and a good friend of our families wanted to go overseas and work in Poland and work with the volunteer efforts of like helping with humanitarian efforts of helping overseas. And that's something that I've been wanting to support with our real estate investment group so that we can have more of an impact on the world than just having an impact locally in the U.S. It's a little sooner than I thought it would happen, but I think it's important that it grows with us. And I also think it's really important to be having this go on overseas so we have a larger purpose in life than just trying to build real estate and wealth for ourselves. So anyways, Mike can hear me right now. Mike is overseas right now. He's currently in Poland. And he's helping out with humanitarian efforts there. He's doing different things there. And so how this is working out is he's there. He fronted his efforts to get there. He brought the money together. He got everything together to get over there and live on. And then we kind of collaborated this thing that we would join together as kind of a unit through Dragon Realty. Since he was a part owner, I'm a part owner. That we would support each other, and this would be our overseas effort, and that he would be our unit overseas, helping in different areas of the world that we could support and help, like bring them forward and help them in whatever bad situation they're in. And right now he's in Poland working there. So I'm going to actually open it up to him and kind of sit back and tell you whatever he wants to tell you about what's going on over there and kind of his journey to get over there. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
It's going great, Roy. Glad to be talking to you. It's around midnight here in Warsaw, Poland. As you can see behind me, we got the Tower of Culture and Science, which is the center point of Warsaw. And you may be able to see the blue lights and hopefully the yellow. That is actually on every single night to show solidarity between the Polish people and the Ukrainian people.
Really? That's awesome.
Yes, every single night it's on. Sometimes they might have a red in there too to represent Poland, but primarily the yellow and blue is on every night to represent solidarity.
Nice.
And you also can't see it now because of the fog, but they have a sign over at the other end of the block saying "Give peace a chance," and you have another solidarity light up over on this skyscraper right behind me.
Oh, nice.
So.
That's cool.
However, what am I doing here? I've been here since about April 2nd. I was told that if you want to help out, probably head to the central train station in Warsaw. So that's what I did. Got off the plane after being on there probably since April 30th. Got there, said, hey, can I help out? Sure enough, got handed the vest.
Quick question, Mike.
And we signed some, what's that?
So when you went over there, did you have a lot of people that you knew over in Ukraine? Did you, or in Poland? Were you kind of like set up with a lot of connections?
Absolutely. Nope. I just happened to run across a connection through my old unit who was there before I was, who's helping out with logistics and sending supplies over, and talked to him a little bit, and he kind of gave me a pointer in which direction to go.
Nice.
So literally it was a 20-minute phone call that kind of got things kicked off. I already had tickets to go over, but he's the one that gave me direction where to go.
Nice. And then when you got there, you kind of met people that said, hey, we know where to send you. We know what to do. Like go ahead and like go here, talk to these people about volunteering kind of deal?
Actually, like I said, it was actually through him. He said, go to this location, find people in safety vests, and they probably can point you in the direction, which is what I did. And like I said, pretty much signed up and worked a shift that night, and the majority of the nights I've been here, I've been working a shift there at midnight, and there's only a few nights I've maybe taken off, take care of a few other things, but that's about it. And working on other ends to expand out the humanitarian efforts.
Nice. So what are you doing over there right now?
Currently, like I said, as far as volunteering, if you only speak English, they tend to like to stick you in the kitchen tent, which is great. works out. And here's a funny fact. You remember those Harrison Ford movies like in Star Wars and Indiana Jones where you'll see two people, him just having a conversation, he's talking English, someone else is talking a completely different language. They both seem to understand each other despite not making any sense.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying, yeah.
That's actually, I always thought that was ridiculous until got here now, and that's actually how it works out sometimes. With that being said, a lot of Ukrainians actually speak perfect English, so
nice.
That actually works out too. And there was times I was able to give directions on somewhere to get something done, like to find the point where you need to find transportation or lodging, because they spoke English, I spoke English, but some of the Polish volunteers didn't speak Ukrainian or English, so I already knew what was kind of going on because I was here for a few days, and I was able to direct in that regards.
Oh, nice. You were able to actually help, like, link people together. Yeah, see, that's the crazy thing is, you know, most people, when they look at something like this, I deployed, so I kind of understand that linking up with people is not as bad as it seems a lot of times, or that other countries are pretty similar to ours, regardless of how different it feels. But, like, you don't really know until you're going over there exactly what to expect. But that's why I thought it was kind of important to say that, because, you know, there are links that you can make, and you can contact us through Dragon Realty. We can put you in touch with Mike overseas if you're thinking about going over there, and he can help direct you in like who to talk to, where to get flights, how to set up your flight, and stuff like that as well. Anyway, off that, hey Mike, go ahead and continue on with what you were saying earlier. I kind of interrupted you. If you kind of want to explain
that's quite all right.
Go for it. I'll
quite
sit
all right.
back here.
Actually, I want to touch in and say, if you want to get over here, there's also things we can do back home as well. I do have at least one contact, same one I was talking about before. He's actually trying to get stuff over here. Well, he is getting stuff over here. And if you want to donate in that regards, shoot Roy a message, and I can probably link up an account and figure out a way to get through that too, if that's all right with you.
Gotcha. So he's that I know of, so this person in the States, what's he doing, or with, as far as helping out?
Primarily, I don't know how much detail I can get into with this, but primarily, he's putting out together medical supplies and other odds and ends that are needed. And he runs a logistics company, so he's able to, or at least he operates in logistics. So he has a supply train directly going from the United States to here and into Ukraine itself. And what he's doing is basically getting those supplies put together in the U.S., then getting them over here.
Nice.
And if there's people who are, right now though, a lot of people have been helping with the donations and that. Obviously, it's been several months, so it probably could use more help in that regards from a conversation I had with him today. But other than that, there's other organizations out there that's helping. I'd have to get a little bit more time on the ground here to see who's doing what in that regard. Because around here, it's actually mostly locally set up. They just recently transferred hands between NGOs here at the food tent that we're running, as well as the rest of the setup at the train station. But it was actually local business owners and that got together, and with a combination of help from the government, we're helping making sure people got food and got where they needed to go. And it's half local volunteers and also people like myself who just happen to come in like, hey, I want to help out, find out where your skill sets are and what you can do. Like there was a guy who came in he was from Scotland, and he taught school in Dubai, and he wanted to see what's going on and help out. He came in, he was there for the 4 nights he was here in Poland, and that's how he spent his vacation.
So that's how he spends his vacation.
Mother and what's that?
Oh, so he spends his vacations literally just going there. He'll spend a few days there volunteering, helping people that are kind of like have been exfilled from their homes. Nice.
That's how he spent this one. And he's not the only one. Like I said, I don't know if this was caught earlier or not, but there was a mother and daughter from Washington State who I met yesterday or the day before who was here helping out. And like I said, they came here, helped out with the food and getting coffee and tea made.
Nice.
And I know that doesn't seem like much, but honestly, for some people, it's the first hot meal they've gotten since they got from the border. In other cases, it's if nothing else, it's a morale boost to see that people care.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then like we talked before when you went over there, we kind of talked a lot about what you were going to do over there, this, that, and the other. And one of the first things we said is no matter what you were going to end up doing or where you were going to end up putting your efforts in to help the most of everything going on there, that it would be good to just jump off the train and be able to volunteer at a local like food bank, food group, helping out with that kind of effort and kind of get to know people, get to know groups, who you can trust, who you can't, who's legit, who's not. Because just like any other charity or anything like that, I would imagine if you're gonna put a bunch of money towards something, so you don't know if the operating costs are eating up 99% of the money, and then 1%'s getting to the starving children in Africa. So, but working there like you are, you're actually getting to know everybody and what they're doing personally with their efforts. That's awesome.
Yep. And it's also a great networking opportunity. Like I said, I probably made more friends here in the past couple of weeks than I have in the past 5 years. I've added far more people. Yeah. Like if you looked at my Facebook account, it was like 290 when I got here. I'm over 312 just from close connections with people I'm making here in Poland, but also people from Ukraine as well.
That's awesome. So I have a thought that came across my mind, Mike. What was the cost of the flights and everything to get you there? If people are kind of curious as to how much it would cost to even get over there.
See, that's where it can be hit or miss. The earlier you order out, the better. You probably want to order out a good couple, 2 or 3 weeks. I got over here for a little over $500. About once you got baggage figured in, a little over $600, but that was one way. Sometimes it goes a little bit higher than that. If you want to go right away, you're looking at over $1,000. But if you order it out 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time and you shop around a bit, you can get it under $1,000. Some cases, there used to be a couple points you could get around $500. And before stuff really kicked off here, it was looking at about $700 for a round trip, but I don't think you're going to see that anytime soon. But Gotcha. You can find them for under $1,000 to get here. And that's another thing. Once you're here, the cost of living is not that bad. It's actually better than what you have in the U.S. You can get McDonald's level pricing on gourmet level food, or you can go to the local McDonald's that actually is still affordable here, and it actually tastes better like back in 90s McDonald's.
Well, I know we like the 90s fries better. Hey, so on top of that, the hostel because I know you're staying in a hostel, right? Yes. How is the nightly cost of that?
That's not bad at all. It's about $15 to $17 a night. Basically $100 and some bucks a week. So, yeah, you can get buy it by a week at a time. It depends on what style of room you want.
Yeah.
Like I've got the cheapest option, which is 8 bunks, and you got a little foot locker that goes underneath your bed. But you can store your extra luggage in their luggage room. They have more private options with rooms. If you even get with the 6 bunk room, you actually can get lockers with that. But it's the place, they keep it clean. The cleaning ladies are working all the time in there.
So it's not just like a massive group of messy people kind of just cluttered together like an old army bunks, right?
Not generally. The last night might have been the exception, but that was a rarity. And that's another thing. It might be a culture shock, especially to us Americans, but it's actually co-ed in there. So it's males and females kind of bunked in the same area.
Gotcha.
So
if you didn't feel comfortable with that, what would a hotel cost you? Roughly.
A hotel, like the Nova Hotel that I stayed at, which is over in that direction. I guess I could walk that way, see if we can see it. First night was about $79, which wasn't bad for what you got. But after that, it got around $89 because they had a lot of people coming in, and 89 to 90, I want to say. And that did eat up a lot of funds because I was there for 3 or 4 days before I got to the hostel. And like I said, the hostel for price of a day and a half, I can stay a week. So
Gotcha. No, okay, so I'm curious, Mike. So we've kind of gone over what it costs to get over there and volunteer, which people can kind of put together an estimate now. They kind of know that it's not as crazy and scary and difficult as they might be in their minds. Now I'm curious now if you want, like, and I don't know how much you can go into, but is there anything you can talk about, like, of what's been going on over there, people you've been talking to, what they've been hearing and seeing that might not be on the news or might not be being talked about that maybe is important?
Yeah, there is some ends, although I'm not too sure on how far I want to go into that tonight, per se.
Sure.
But, all right. Oh, as just a quick fun fact, you see those scooters behind me there?
Uh-huh.
That I just passed? Those are actually owned by, I want to say those are actually ran by Uber, and you buy minutes on them, and you take them wherever you need to go, and then it shuts down once your minutes are done, and they come pick them up at night.
Oh, they actually pick them up at night? I didn't know that. I've seen those in larger cities, but I didn't know they picked them up at night and took them back. I thought they just stayed there until somebody else decided to use it.
No, they come around and they pick them up and they just reset them. That was the van. You just saw resend them up.
That's crazy.
So
that's awesome. I know. I know you said that you've talked to a few people that were doing good things over there too. Is there anything without giving too much away about those people and what they're doing? Is there any way can talk a little bit about the good things that are going on over there with, like, volunteering, as far as even just helping people?
Yes. I guess this goes down how far of a rabbit hole you want to go as far as what you want to do as far as volunteering. Like, what I'd recommend for most people is what I was currently doing. Come here, see what they need help with, and work your shift, maybe work a little extra, because sometimes you might need to cover down for an next crew to come in. Then, honestly, you can live your day out normally. There's a lot to see in this city. But if you're wanting to take it a step further, you can go down to the border. Just know that's a little bit more intense. You got to be a little bit more cautious down there. If you want to take it a step further, you can go into the country itself. There are people, they need help with people who know how to drive. Oh, if you drive a manual, you can find a lot to do in Ukraine itself, because right now they need people to be able to drive trucks to get things where they need to go.
Really? So you can actually, just being able to drive a manual makes you a valuable asset.
Yes, because there's a lot of people who don't know how to drive manuals, and the majority of vehicles in Ukraine are manual. Same with Poland. Especially in Ukraine, because it's easier to repair the manual vehicles. So that's why a lot of people prefer them over automatics. It's just cheaper to maintain. There's also, like I said, a lot of manuals here in Poland. Oh, and I don't know, unless you're a very competent driver, I would not recommend driving in Warsaw, because it is some of the craziest driving I have ever seen.
Can you get a license over there in Warsaw?
See, that's where it gets interesting, because it's, I want to say your license should count over here, but I'm not 100%, and
Really?
they recommend not doing it just because the way the traffic works. But what's even more peculiar is actually you need to have licensing when you're in Ukraine, too. And that's, like, most people, that blows their mind, because it's a war zone, but no, they actually check. Now, with that being said, for volunteers, after they check a few times, they're like, okay, we'll let you do what you're doing. But, yeah, that's not like it's complete chaos and everything's broken down over there. A lot of the laws and that are still in effect and are being enforced like they normally would be, including driver's license, because I was talking to some humanitarians who just got back from there and might be going back in here pretty soon. But the one time they were driving an ambulance down to getting at point A to point B. I don't think they were responding to a call that day. And they got pulled over, and they were asking, hey, where's your driver's license? And went to look back, and they saw everybody piled in the back, and they're like, oh, okay, you guys can go now, but just try to get it figured out later. So,
gotcha.
But, yeah, like I said, though, if you're someone who's got the need to actually go out and do the things that are not exactly on the regular beaten path, and if you want to say you did it, now is the time to come on over.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
So, and if you want more information in that regards, again, if Roy's all right with it, shoot him a message.
Absolutely. Like, that's what we're doing this for.
So,
yeah. What's that?
But going into what you were saying, like, what were some people telling me? I remember having one lady tell me, who came from Kharkiv, how her city, and she broke down crying during this. Obviously, it was very hard. Like, she's very up in spirits and everything, but it got to this point where she was explaining what was happening to her city, where it was getting shelled every day, and where most of the stuff is now ruins.
Jeez.
So, I've met another family who literally lost everything, and when we asked them, they were from that area north of Kyiv, I think. Name escapes me right now, but literally, it was a freaking massacre up there, and they were like, "Yeah, we've got friends and neighbors who are dead right now." So things are, and the common thing I've heard from people who came from Kyiv is about at least 10 times a day, it's either air raid sirens or actual air raids.
Oh wow!
And I've talked to multiple people from Kyiv.
Gotcha. So this isn't just one person saying it. It's kind of like you're getting multiple sayings from the same information from multiple sources, which kind of backs the validity up of it.
Correct.
Dang.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing is, like, you don't have to. Not saying that, that a lot of us don't say that we, really believe in Ukraine and that we want them to do well and that we want, but you don't have to really want to fight. You don't have to want to be involved in the actual war of it. But there's a lot of people that are hurt, injured, dying, sick, homeless, hungry, and that is something we can all kind of get behind to support, regardless of the political feelings you have on anything. Just being a human being means helping out each other. And that's kind of what, that's what we're doing as a group right now. Like, we're trying to help over there. We're trying to help here. And our goal is as a group, not to take over the show, but our goal as a group is to help building support overseas through real estate and through investing, and hopefully to get more people involved in our group that actually want to go overseas and help in that aspect, and kind of share their capabilities through financial freedom, in helping other people. Anyway, short little thing there, thing for me. But anyway, so geez, that's crazy. So wow. And so they're here right now. Are they finding shelter? Are they finding places to stay?
Yes. Part of the things that is done at the train station is we have a lodging point set up at one of the desks. And like the hostel I'm staying at, a lot of folks end up over there for a couple nights. Like one of the guys I met from Kyiv, he was actually a former boxing coach in that too. Real nice gentleman. He was heading into Sweden because his mother was there. That's how he ended up in the hostel, was through this point. And they either hostel, hotel, and in other cases we have a point here at the train station for women and children to stay at. And there's also the waiting areas, and some people even sleep out in the kitchen tent that we have set up and running. So
oh, wow.
They're finding places to stay for right now. Then we also set up transportation to get them where they need to go. And also, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but one of the most absolute amazing things I've seen and also continue to see is people actually taking in people into their own homes. And it's not just like a lot in Poland, including retirees who are on a very thin budget, but finding ways to adopt a family to come into their home. One of the people who's staying at the hostel with me, she's she's Polish in descent, but she currently lives, I think, in Denmark, and she's arranging to get some people to come with her. And actually, you'll find this hard. I was like, wow, that's truly amazing. She's like, no, we're Christian people. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's you know, it's funny because like in the U.S., if you could imagine anything going on like that near us, if you could imagine saying, okay, I have my wife, I have my kids, you know, do I trust people? Do I not trust people? Who are these people we're going to invite into our house? But they can obviously, I'm sure they have like, I'm sure they try to do a good job at judging people that they're bringing in, but
Right.
I was talking to somebody about yesterday about, you know, if you had to set up your house and share rooms with other families in order to support each other to grow, you know, how would that help everybody in that entire situation's lives? And, you know, it was a weird conversation. We won't get into that. But kind of like on that same train of thought, like it's difficult for people to say, okay, this is my house, but I'm going to open it up to somebody from a different country just so their children don't have to sleep in the rain and on the streets. And that is awesome. That is awesome. That's sacrifice too. Like, it's so easy to sit back and not sacrifice. I feel, you know, I sit back here and, you know, Mike, you're over there and you're living in a hostel and working over there and volunteering and, you know, you're broadening your horizons and you're meeting new people and you're really doing awesome things. But it's also sacrifice too. You know, you're away from everybody and you're spending your time helping over there. But I think it's sacrifice well served. Absolutely.
And actually, this is probably the best I felt in a long time. So it's actually a good way to get a little bit of your soul back too if you've been on that path.
Do you mind elaborating on that, Mike? I mean, just what you said obviously says a little bit, but like, what do you mean?
Well, I guess go a little bit in my history. As some of you know, or actually may not know, off of Roy show, in prior service, I've been to Iraq in 09 to 010. The area I was in, part of it was Sinjar province, and mostly Kurdish. Very good people, building up their life, looking forward to building a better future for their children. Fast forward 3 years later, and that's the same area that ISIS came and completely destroyed. I don't mean decimate, I mean completely destroyed. Whatever building was left standing had probably like 10 or 12 IEDs put into it. I tried on 3 different occasions to find my way back there. Circumstances kept preventing it. Fast forward a few more years, Afghanistan falls, all those emotions start running back. And it's like, I can't just sit by while this stuff keeps happening. And next time something goes, I'm going to find a way to help out. And here I am. And honestly, it's like I feel like I'm actually back doing what I'm supposed to be doing in life. And before, it's like, yes, help here. I'm volunteer firefighter, and that definitely helps here and there. But it's not being. Everybody has a path in life that they're supposed to be on, and if things don't feel right, that's because you're not on that path. If that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense to me. I feel like, you know, the jobs that I did before were good. Supporting my family is good. These are all great things. Living a good life as a good person is great. But I've never felt better in what I was doing than what I'm doing right now. And I completely agree. I think I talked about it in my show and about in some of the shows that I've done before and in some of the documents we have that, you know, having a grand why in life that you're working towards, being part of like your happiness. And that just, you know, I don't know if I've ever really talked to you about that, Mike, but it's right there. Like he's doing it, you know, like you're over there, you're doing what your purpose is in life, and it's having a great effect on like your soul and who you are and giving you purpose, and that awesome and you know, not showing, you know, not trying to be look at me, look at you, like obviously we're doing this for a bigger cause, but having that bigger cause and wanting to, you know, living a life of, like you said, your purpose, and that is awesome.
Right.
That is
and
awesome.
It also seems like when you're doing it, things just seem to fall in place too. Like it might be on the knife's edge, but a new connection will be made or a new opportunity will come up, and you'll find ways that you may be helping. Like it's just like random stuff I've been able to do over here. Like I found a wallet on the ground and was able to turn it in. Or like yesterday, well actually today and yesterday, helped out a gentleman, and this gentleman is a truly amazing human being. Vietnam vet, and when he was in after the war, he was basically, when he wasn't doing his main job, he was doing humanitarian work everywhere you can think of in the world, everything from Vietnam, Laos, Uganda, Mongolia, all that. And he came here in hopes to help out, and he unfortunately, on the way here, has helped showing him where everything was. And yeah, I think it might have been some sort of health complication. I don't want to go into detail here, but I was able to be there to help him out, thank goodness. And stuff like that is sometimes when you're going on what you're supposed to be going in life, you might be there for someone else who needs you to be there. And there's been a couple times like that already, whether it was with someone here coming here to volunteer, or someone who is escaping Ukraine. It was able to get them the information or help or thing they needed to get there to the next level that would not necessarily happen otherwise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think you put it really well. Honestly, you look like honestly a pro over there, like sending information over here. I'm not gonna lie. I swear you've been in front of the camera for a few years.
Negative on that regards. Although going back to your earlier one about things that inspire you and that, as far as people doing, another thing that I've seen that was actually quite amazing is the age demographic of the volunteers themselves. Like I know, I'm sure you're familiar back home, it's usually the people who've been retired and that for a while. They're the ones, and it's absolutely amazing they get out and do it, but they're usually the ones running the food stands and that back home for the food drives and that.
People with a little bit more time and stuff, yeah.
Well, over here, I'm watching a broad spectrum of people, both local and international. In some cases, people who moved here, like some people who moved here from Italy, they're volunteering almost every night. Some people who work here from India, volunteering here every night, as well as obviously people from Poland here every night. But the age demographic, a lot of the people who are volunteering here are in their 20s and 30s. And they go from students to actual professionals like lawyers, IT techs, all that.
Wow.
And some of them will work a full-time hours and then do a 6-hour shift.
Wow, so they're doing their full-time work where they're at, and then they're doing full-time shifts. And they're actually able to find work over there in Poland, which is amazing because those are some of the myths we're trying to like break down, because people think that they go to this other country that it's just going to be a bunch of people that they can't understand them. They're not going to have any connections. They'll go broke. They'll go homeless, and they'll be on the streets. But like that's not the case. A lot of countries are a lot like the U.S. in many ways, especially as far as the people go and how they think and how much they care. Maybe more so.
More so, and actually here, I mean, it's actually probably easier to do this here than it would be in the U.S. To be honest with you.
Really? Wow.
You know, like I said, well, for starters, as best of my knowledge, we don't have hostels in the U.S. that you can have a room for $130 bucks a week for. No, actually, even less than that now I think about it.
Maybe that's a real estate thing. Maybe we need to look into starting hostels, Mike.
I think there's actually like regulational issues with it in the United States. I can't remember, but
I know there are some people that rent houses by the room. I've heard of that. I know that was a thing, at least for quite a while. That's an idea.
Well, you know what? That's a good point. That's actually a very good point. But also, it's like I said, the cost of living here is significantly cheaper than the United States. Like their what do you think you call it? Their local currency is about 4-1 to ours, so one of ours is worth 4 of theirs. But also, like the actual stuff, like this is like one of the amazing things. Went to one of our local supermarkets, and you know how I'm a Monster addict, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's this.
It's gonna kill you soon.
One particular Monster that's their version of a ginger beer Monster Mule kind of thing. Can't find it in the United States, or at least in Michigan anymore, for several months. They have it over here, and they have it for like $1.50 once you get the currency figured out.
Nice. So, okay, back a little bit to the financial aspect. How much do you think it costs you to sustain life over there as a single human being trying to volunteer, spend most of your time just volunteering and stuff?
Well, it depends on what level of how you want to do it, because you could go really bare bones, and if you're volunteering in the kitchen, they feed volunteers here.
Cool.
At least at this part. So if you really wanted to go bare bones with it, that would be the way to go. I unfortunately may have, because like I said, it's very affordable to eat very good meals here.
Yeah.
So for $10, you can get what's equivalent to like a $20 meal or more back in the States. Like I've had a roast duck breast dinner for like under $10 here, and the same thing would be a $30 meal back in the United States.
Wow. So if you had some decent passive income, you could spend your life volunteering and helping people and almost live a better, more affordable life than even in the U.S. sometimes, which is pretty crazy.
Actually, in Poland, their cost of living here, the average person is $700 a month that they live off of.
Really?
Yep.
Holy smokes. All right. So if I can spend just a couple seconds on this, imagine, right? So we've had with the past property we had people, some people that did, put in a little bit of money. They have like about $35 a month in passive income. Some people that put in a lot more work. And we had somebody that worked the entire process, worked on the actual physical property for 3 months. And they have $100 and some in passive income from a 3-month period that they worked on that house. I'm just putting together this idea that if you literally invested in real estate, and even with us or by yourself, however you want to do it, and you built yourself $800 a month in passive income, could you then, spend your life letting that slowly grow in a portion, but then also support you in a lifetime of volunteering and putting in efforts to help people in needing countries and actually have a life well fulfilled just on a few real estate houses?
You definitely could do that here. In fact, ironically enough, when we did our pre-call to discuss what we might be discussing tonight, in that time, a couple gentlemen approached me. One of them was an American who was staying at the hostel I was. He's getting ready to head back. He recognized me and introduced me to his friend. And his friend is actually a former business economics teacher and now crypto expert, apparently. And he's been living here for the past 15 years. And he says more freedom here, no real taxes here in comparison. So he actually seems to find life better here in Poland and is living, like I said, 15 years here with whatever income he's making, and sounds like to him is far more affordable than the United States.
Wow.
And a lot more freedom in some other regards, like especially in the tax side of things.
That's awesome. That's crazy. That's
amazing.
That's really cool. Well, I think this show's gone quite a while, but I think we really actually hit on so many awesome things and really important things, and it broken tons of myths about volunteering your time to help people overseas and how difficult or easy it is to actually get over there and do that.
Well, here's another thing to look at is if you can actually get a group of people together too that have the same mission set, that cuts the cost down even more, and that just is a force multiplier.
Nice.
So,
well, I'm hoping we can keep growing our support for you over there, and I'm hoping that we have people internally with the real estate group that want to go volunteer with you and help these issues overseas, and whether it's there or Africa or wherever it is. If they want to go help, that we can support them too, and that they can support themselves through passive income. And heck, if we can get more people over there, like you said, more people, more affordable logistics. That's awesome. All right, Mike, anything else you want to say before we go?
No, that should about do it for tonight. I'll definitely be trying to check in with you back as soon as possible, and hopefully give you more updates. And actually, if you don't mind, or if your audience doesn't mind, actually come up with a list of questions, and I can look at it beforehand and answer them hopefully on this show if that works out for you.
Yeah, absolutely. They can leave them in the comments, or I'll actually put it on the post too, like, hey, please leave comments and questions if you have any questions about what's going on over there. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
awesome.
Mike.
Excellent.
Well, hey, no, we're going to do another show like this hopefully soon. I got to get better at doing the shows more regular and put my focus towards that. I actually, having more people come here and working with us and actually join our real estate group physically on hands. Here, today somebody showed up, and a few days from now somebody else will be showing up, and 2 weeks from now more people will be showing up. The more hands we get involved in this real estate investment group, the more I'm going to have more time to do stuff like this, hopefully. So we're gonna be back hearing from you soon, Mike. All right, talk to you later. Good luck over there, man.
Alrighty, thank you. I'll talk to you later.